Thank you for, thank you for the tiger chuffs, Tarek. That is a great way to start out a live post here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is Monday here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Tiger Tarek is choosing to hang out in his little above-ground pool here. Kind of awkwardly sitting on the edge of his pool, as a matter of fact. You might notice in the background the finishing touches of some new construction that happened last week at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Tammy mentioned on her Wildcat wrap-up. Tarek even bringing, looks like some of that fresh sand that was laid down in his habitat into his pool, as you can tell from the color of that water. But hello, everyone. Welcome. It's a new week here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. So glad to have all of you with us. As you can see, kind of the portion of Tarek's habitat, Tarek and Polina's habitat, that is, leading up to their indoor bedroom inside the Central Animal Building, we put down a lot of dirt. We loaded up this kind of portion of the habitat because now the angle is coming out this way, as opposed to before we put this dirt in, Mr. Tarek. It was more angled farther or closer to the building. So when all that snow in the spring would melt from winter, we're finding that Tarek's habitat and Shazam, right on the other side of Tarek, they're having some major flooding issues. So we took it upon ourselves to raise up this part of the habitat and ensure that we're not going to have those flooding issues in years to come. So it looks a little barren just in this part of the habitat, understandably so. But rest assured, the Minnesota wild will take its grip, and we'll have plenty of grass and growth there in no time. Well, hello, Mr. Shazam. Looks like he was watching Tarek enjoy his pool from across the way. Let's say hi to some folks here. Happy Monday, D'Angela Castle. Glad to have you with us. Jill Moore's here. Hey, Jill. Faith. Hey, Shari. Hope all is well. Hey, Maria Vaughn. Saying hi to the cats and dog. Hey, Tiger Tarek. Thank you for those 200 stars, Lauren Kramer. Get my phone zooming out here. There's Tiger Tarek cruising around. We have another shadow behind us. That would be the one and only Tiger Dash. We're here in our wild woodlands area. I kind of want to cruise around woodlands here. I wanted to, as a matter of fact, head over to Roar Ridge. They're getting their meal right now. They're being fed, but I imagine those cats will be coming back out into their habitat, cruising around, doing a little post-meal grooming. Tarek, where's your girlfriend at? Is she hanging out in the shade somewhere? We can follow the tiger shadow, which would be Dash, who's expertly stalking us here. Let's see who else is here. Hey, Corey S. saying hi to the kitties. Thank you for that, Corey. Hey, pretty man. Hey, Rosie P. Glad to have you with us. Good morning to you, and a good morning from a Tiger Dash. Hey, Paul Stringer. Patricia A. calling Tarek such a handsome boy, and that he is. Speaking of handsome boys, says Dash, don't forget about me. Good morning, Melanie. Happy Monday. Hey, Kendra, ditto. And today is Monday, and many of you would know that we're in the throes of our Cats in Crisis campaign, where we have set out a challenge grant of $30,000, which is going to be matched if we meet it. And word on the Wildcat Sanctuary streets is it has been going very well so far. You guys have been stepping up with your generosity to help us meet this challenge grant. Well, word on the Wildcat streets, Mr. Dashers, is that we have some news to share with you later this afternoon. Later this afternoon, we'll have an e-newsletter going out. We'll correspond that information on social media, Mr. Dashers. And we'll kind of be talking a little bit more about our Cats in Crisis campaign, where we are, and then where we're going just yet. So thank you to those who've maybe donated. Thank you to those who've maybe shopped the Cats in Crisis wish list. We have more in store for you tonight, and more, or this afternoon rather, and a show of our generosity, and perhaps a show of how we still need your generosity. What do you think, Mr. Dashers? He says, life is good. He says, patrolling around the habitat, seeing what's what. Saying hi to the paparazzi. Showing off how big my tiger paws are. And we're actually catching a glimpse of where Dash got his name from. We know Dash as, one of our kind of most miraculous rescue stories. Dash was found as an hour-old tiger cub when we were called to rescue 4 big cats from a derelict breeding facility in Indiana. Dash had been found, like I said, just hours after being born. When we were transporting Dash back in the transport vehicle, Tammy noticed a perfect little single dash on his arm, which is where his name was derived from. Later we saw, it was actually pointed out by one of our followers, that Marcus, Dash's father, who was rescued from that facility, well, he was sporting the same exact dash on the inside of his arm like we're seeing there. So it was nice to see that shared between the two, and obviously, like father, like son, Mr. Dashers. How about a chuff? He says, oh, I'm just hanging out. So handsome, says Jill. Handsome indeed, Mr. Dashers. Want to keep circling around. I saw Miss Mansa hanging out. We saw Shazam for a moment hanging out on his platform, but he was kind of pointed towards Tarek and Polina, so we probably wouldn't be able to get too good of a glimpse of him if we actually went over to his habitat. But glad we got to see him enjoying his morning dash, just like you are. But onward and forward. Tarek's getting his steps in. Tarek's a big patroller. He says, you give me this big free roaming habitat, you're darn tootin', I'm going to stomp all over it. Mr. Patroller, thank you for the chuffs. Yeah. Whoa. How about we patrol together? I can patrol too. Where's your girlfriend, though? Is she hanging out inside? He says, maybe. Maybe. Oh, there's pretty Polina. He says, I'm catching some shade here. Always, not only kind of great to see, the 2 cats in one habitat making 2 different choices, but I also think it's a kind of a great illustration of the different cats' personalities. Or Polina, she says, I'm a little more subdued. She says, I like people, but I don't need to come up and chuff at them, and maybe not as extroverted as my other half, Tarek. But I love to see, just like Tracy F. is pointing out, Polina has a good idea, and it's just awesome seeing the cats making their own choices. Tarek is doing his own thing. We caught him starting out in the pool. Now he's doing his patrolling. Polina's like, I'm catching some shade right now, mister. It is a cat nap type of morning for me, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Love to see those choices. And there comes Mr. Patrolling Tarek in the background. You can even see the size difference between the two. Tarek clocking in close to that 400-pound range. It's one of our largest tigers, probably right behind Mr. Noah, who certainly isn't as slim, or not that Tarek is slim, but we know that Noah came to us a little overweight, and as a matter of fact, he's looking great. I'd be interested to hear maybe Noah's caretakers hazard a guess on some of the weight loss that he's made so far. And this is cool to see. So I was mentioning that construction happening in Tarek and Polina's habitat. We raised up kind of that area leading up to their central animal building. This was our old remedy for when the habitats would flood. These are big raised platforms that we would put down for Tarek and Polina, just so they weren't not only walking through the mud and water, but actually making it worse. So gone with the old platforms that we had to kind of put in there during those flooding seasons, as we're hoping this construction was kind of the silver bullet for the flooding that we would have in this habitat. So you keep on marching, Mr. Tarek. And I'm laughing at how crisp and clean this pool is. Tarek was just in his pool that was a little closer to the construction area. You can see he dragged some of that dirt in there. Tigers will be tigers after all. We'll walk down and say hi to Aurora and Alana, who are catching some vitamin D on their platform. I'm happy to have so many of you with us today on a sanctuary stroll at the Wildcat Sanctuary. I see Miss Aurora and then her sister Alana just kind of resituating herself. We'll see Aurora up in the shining in the sun there on the top right, and Alana on the bottom left, kind of getting a better look at the paparazzi here. Aurora and Alana, coming from the infamous Tiger King Park. One of two of a handful of cats that we were able to rescue from that place in May of 2021. These two lionesses are cats who have really come to embrace their wild at heart life. They say enrichment, yippee. They say people, yippee. They say free roaming habitats, yippee. Aurora and Alana really kind of wear their hearts on their sleeve, and it's just fun to see that in a cat. Obviously, we get different levels of gratification, kind of given the varying personalities of our rescues, and Alana and Aurora are just two good examples of, just kind of wearing that on their sleeve of just how sweet life is, and we love seeing it. Pretty chill day for you two sisters. I like it. Yeah. I like, well, there's a beautiful breeze. I think the high's only going to be, it's in the 70s right now, and I don't think it's going to climb too much higher than that. We had some rain this morning. So kind of a little post-frontal cool-off day today. It's going to be a little bit hotter tomorrow. So truthfully, really, really great cat weather. Alrighty then. I see Leo and Mansa right hanging out in one of their kind of favorite sunspots. So let's see what those two lions are up to. Maria P. saying Aurora and Alana make you smile. That they do with me as well. Those two cats are certainly a joy to see on live posts and photos and just everything, Leo and Mansa. And Mansa says, well, it's a joy to hear them join in on our lion songs as well. There we go. Let me get into the comments here. Thank you, Paul Stringer, for that comment. Kudos to all you guys for making a safe place for the cats. And thank you, Paul, for that comment. And I be sure to thank yourself and all the people around you in this live post. It's a culmination of your guys' support that makes everything here at the Wildcat Sanctuary possible. So thank you. Someone asking, how is Elizabeth doing? Elizabeth the tiger, her and Noah, holding down the fort behind me in Feline Meadows. All is well for Miss Elizabeth. Plenty of pool time, plenty of relaxation time. If I'm not mistaken, I think we caught a glimpse of her last week on a live post. Hey, Jill Moir, celebrating following TWS for 2 whole years now. Where does time go? That's great to hear, Jill. What brought you in? That's one of the things that I like seeing. I know that some of our supporters like saying, oh, it was Shanti Deva, I learned about her and the rescue of that pride of lions from the roadside zoo in New York. Or maybe it was a more recent story, perhaps Bruno, perhaps even Tigress Indy, that recently. I love hearing the kind of what caught people's ear and what made them really kind of key in and learn about the cats here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Jill Abbott, 100 stars. Thank you for that, Jill. Yeah, and what a contrast that are, kind of winter versus summer here in Minnesota. This is just one of those moments where I look at Leo and Mansa, they're sitting back and seeing all that green behind them. It's hard to imagine that all disappears eventually, but boy, oh boy, we do love the summer months. And Leo and Mansa say, hey, winter's not so bad either. Mm-hmm. But moments like that where I just see this green, lush stadium behind them, it's pretty special. Hey, Krista Christensen. Thanks for joining us today. Pretty mellow sanctuary stroll so far. A little bit of time with Tarek. A little bit of time with Aurora and Alana. Lounging lions, that's kind of in the theme, Ashley Conway. I mentioned how later today we'll be finding out via our e-newsletter as well on social media. We're going to be talking a little bit more about our Cats in Crisis campaign. We had set out with a challenge grant. It would have been about a week and a half ago. A challenge grant of $30,000. We're going to talk, I don't want to talk out of turn, but about how well that has been going thanks to your guys' generosity, as well as kind of looking forward towards the remaining days of this Cats in Crisis fundraiser and how you guys can continue to help with it. So that will be later today via our e-newsletter and then on social media. Exciting, Leo and Mansa. Very, very exciting. Alrighty. Let's see what we have here. It really is a spectacular day. Breeze, not too hot. Watching, I caught a glimpse of them, the three wild, Rainier, Tacoma, and Quincy. They have their caretakers up at the building, but we're going to shoot all the way across to Roar Ridge because that's where they just finished feeding, and I bet there's more than a handful of cats who are up and active doing some post-meal grooming, as felines do. Always fun to see the parallels. Although the differences, I think at the end of the day, do outweigh the similarities between big cats and domestic cats. I do like seeing the parallels between them, and I think just the consummate cleaning of the paws and licking of the chops post meal time. That's something we all can identify with our little lions at home, if you will. And not so little lion. Here's Lion Gino, catching some sun. We'll go over and see what that pretty boy's doing too. Pandora's up on her platform, who I'd like to see. Thor Jr.'s up on his platform. Yeah, we got some cats to hang out with, Mr. Gino. I'm going to go say hi to Pandora first. We'll be right back, handsome man. We'll be right back, handsome man. Hey, pretty lady. Pretty Pandora. Let me get a good spot here. I'm going to get a real good spot for a real good tigress. There we are. There's Pandora surveying her domain from, truth to tell, probably one of her favorite spots in her habitat, the tippy top of or a large platform complex. And you really do have a large platform complex. I even feel like it's kind of extended by this huge tiger-sized bed that's been woven from recycled fire hose. Paul Stringer is asking, when was the sanctuary born? When was TWS established? In 1999. So amazing to think here we are in 2023. Tammy started this, like I said, in 1999, and we have some really awesome kind of stories of just the kind of the FAQ of how TWS got started. If I'm not mistaken, I even think we have a larger blog on our website that talks about how TWS got started. And highly encourage you to go and check that on our website. Otherwise, we can dig around, and we've done some Q&As with Tammy, and that's certainly a question that comes up, is how did TWS get started? But 1999 was the year that Tammy stepped into the ring to start making a difference for these Wildcats, to be a voice for the voiceless. And here we are in 2023, everyone. That is pretty special, Miss Pandora. Glad to see you're enjoying yourself. Let's go see what this dude's doing. And this is also good to see Miss Sophie here. I'm gonna give her all the space that she needs. But there's Lioness Sophie. She says, I'm hanging out right here. Yeah. And she's got Gino right along on the other side of the habitat, obviously. And happy that Gino and Sophie get to have a relationship with one another through neighboring habitats. If you guys were following for kind of their merging process, unfortunately, it didn't work out because Gino, who's one of our neurological cats, his condition was getting the best of him during some of those play dates. And just for his own safety and Sophie's safety, it'd be best for these two to live in the situation that they have now, which is two habitats, but they can still see each other and kind of have that social connection that way. Hey, pretty man. I'll tell you what, I've been used to seeing a bunch of little lions up on that platform. A bunch of little lions, and now there's a big lion. This would have been the habitat that the Ukraine Pride first started kind of stretching their lion legs in. A little bit of contrast to see a full-grown adult lion hanging out in here, Mr. Leo, or Mr. Gino, I apologize. Certainly sporting that beautiful blonde head of hair that Gino has. And Gino and Sophie and Gino's father, Kimba, what are considered white lions. And it's hard to believe that Gino, or rather Sophie and Kimba, they were born in South Africa, just like we have a surplus of cubs, tiger cubs, or we did rather, for the cub petting industry here in the United States. It's actually the same thing that's happening in South Africa. There's a surplus of these white lions that are being bred for bottle feeding and cub petting opportunities, and with that, many of that surplus finding themselves being exported for the pet market. So happy that Gino and Sophie and formerly Kimba found a forever home here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. But starting their life in South Africa, then going to Argentina, and then ending up here in Minnesota. It's quite the journey, quite the journey. We'll go see if Leopard Shadow's cleaning some of her paws, and I think we might wrap up this live post. You know what? I'm going to go this way because I'd like to see Thor Jr. I feel like we haven't seen Thor Jr. in a little bit. So let's check in on that dude. I'm gonna look at some comments. My microphone's hung up here. There we go. Yeah, Alan Simmons, Gino really does have a beautiful head of hair, and certainly reminds us a lot of his late father, Kimba. But I think it's special things like that. Like we were starting off the live post with Dash, and I think that it's really special is that here at TWS, I think we find a lot of different ways to memorialize the cats and kind of talk about, they may be gone, but truthfully, they're kind of with us forever. And I think those are just little examples of how Kimba's going to be with us forever. We get to look at Gino's head of hair, and we kind of get to relish some of those memories all over again. Whoa, look at Mr. Sneaky Thor. He says, if I barely hide my eyeballs under here. I think it's a combination of a stalk and sleep. But we'll see, Mr. Thor Jr. Hey, goofball. Thor Jr. also coming from the Tiger King Park. Got to see Aurora and Alana earlier. And I think very similar to Aurora and Alana, kind of saying how they wear their heart on their sleeve and kind of really show off just how fortunate and happy they are to be living a compassionate, wild at heart life. Thor Jr. is definitely a member of kind of that school of thought. He says, life is good, and I'm here to embrace it. And we will wrap up this sanctuary stroll. Great weather, though. Glad we've been able to see some cats.